The Career Development Unit, or CDU, is the Thames Valley local support system for careers for trainee doctors. And we're a group of career specialists, consultants and GPs, and we offer workshops for career decision making and preparation for specialty selection. And then we also offer one-to-one personal coaching, which is confidential and free, and that can be for trainees at any stage in their training. And also it might be that they've hit a rough patch, so that's sometimes what we do. The CDU can help foundation trainees in particular with career decision making with its workshops. We offer 3 half-day workshops which are run in the education centres across the Thames Valley area. So the first one, which is called Looking Ahead, Your Career Looking Ahead, is run in the sort of January, February of foundation in year 1. Very much looking at the process of application, so some factual information being given there, but also it's a real chance to have protected time for trainees to think about their skills, their values, what really drives them and motivates them, and checking out how that matches against their thoughts for the specialty that they might choose. The second one, Choosing Your Specialty, is an optional workshop, and that happens right at the beginning of F2 for anyone who hasn't yet made a decision about which specialties to apply for. So it's a small group, lots of exercises, very interactive, and really hoping to raise people's awareness about what might be a good range of specialties to apply for. And then the third workshop is absolutely focused on making a successful application and a good interview. And so we're looking at what it takes to fill in an application form, and particularly what kind of questions are going to be asked in that. But then practicing interview skills, and that might be deconstructing questions together as a group, or even getting people to sit in the hot seat and have some practice at answering questions. The one-to-one coaching that the CDU offers is a really safe, secure place for people to come and talk about their career thoughts and their decision making. And that might be either because people still don't know what to apply for and want to check out some ideas. It may be sometimes that people find they're in the wrong specialty, and because of the lack of flexibility at the moment in switching direction, that's quite a tough decision that people aren't going to take lightly. And I think that doctors really appreciate a place to come and be able to talk through the pros and cons. What would this actually take? What might a timeline be? And I think a lot of career work in this context is about helping people keep their options open until they're absolutely sure what they want to do. But we also find we do career coaching as well with people further on in their training, and that might be around, which subspecialties they would apply for. And again, creating a timeline, thinking about what would work for this, what would be the disadvantages of that. And also people's own priorities change. I mean, things happen in life that mean that sometimes what you started out with as your career vision isn't then what you're going to pursue. And so helping people to adjust their plans or thinking how they might adapt their working practice is what we also do. I think there are some pitfalls for trainees in their career planning. The main one is maybe not thinking about it early enough and perhaps hoping that there's going to be some moment of understanding that this is what they want to apply for. Not everybody gets that. I think also there can be a bit of a danger in sort of deciding very early that you're going to go for a particular career and then not doing a reality check as to whether that's going to work for you and whether the current climate is right and whether that is actually going to be the job that suits you. And we know that happy and fulfilled doctors are effective doctors, and that really underpins all our work in the CDU. There are a few things changing in the career landscape at the moment for doctors, and the main one is that there's an expectation that 50% of medical graduates are actually going to end up in general practice. And that's partly because of changes to how we look after people, more emphasis on care in the community, but also ensuring that people don't go into hospital if it's not really necessary, not just because it's very expensive to provide hospital care, but also hospitals aren't always the best place to be for health, and therefore sometimes keeping people out of hospital is a better option. So with the emphasis on getting more people into GP training, there is an impact in other specialties where there's a recognition that maybe we've been training perhaps too many people, and for instance in surgery the number of training posts are decreasing. Some of the other changes that are around at the moment is that because over 70% of medical graduates are women, there's an expectation that there'll be much more flexible working around. And that won't just impact on women. I think men will be able to do that too, depending on their own career priorities. There's a bit of a sense as well that with fewer consultant posts at the moment, perhaps this generation will have a few years with their CCT before they become a consultant, so it's not an automatic progression. And I think there's some hope that the lack of flexibility about changing specialty direction, may change, and we might be able to build in some way of transferring between specialties that is a bit more forgiving to trainees. I think the important thing about preparing for specialty selection is to start early. It's to really follow all the routes of information that you're given and to do as much research as you can into that specialty. Ask around and find out what the job's really like, because also bear in mind that the job you did in foundation in that specialty or what you saw when you were at medical school isn't actually going to be the job that you'll be doing when you're actually a trainee and then hopefully a consultant. In starting early, it's a really good idea to look at the person specification for that job. You can't do that too early actually when you're in foundation, and start to think how you match that person specification and also how your experiences in foundation could be useful to demonstrate the skills that are required. We've had really great feedback about our workshops in Thames Valley, so I would say really good idea to come to those and really look at yourself to find what really enthuses you about a specialty. Because if you can demonstrate that enthusiasm at interview, it communicates itself very easily to the interviewers. And they're looking for somebody who's committed, who's going to be adaptable, who really wants to make that their career. And if you can convince them of that, I think it's really helpful. I think another pitfall is not asking around enough to tap into the expertise about what careers are like. And I think trainees are sometimes inhibited from speaking to consultants in particular. But I think many of them are only too pleased to be asked, what drew you into this career? What do you really like about it? What are the downsides? Because every job has its downside. But also, how do you think this specialty may change in the next few years? Because we know that technology is moving really fast, and also there are changes in service provision that may alter careers. So I think tapping into the network is a really important thing to do, and to understand that there is scope to make your career the thing you want it to be, that although it appears very inflexible, actually there are going to be more options as you progress to make it the job that really satisfies you.